stint and last stint both vary very slightly, and we'll discuss that afterwards. But for all intents and purposes, for this charity race, we are looking at stints 2 to 11. So when you will join your lobby at the allocated lobby opening time, which will be at 1/2 the hour, and you will have 10 to 15 minutes to join your lobby. That's your deadline, because we need to start the outlaps with plenty of time for driver swaps. So Kazza and King Ears are going to demonstrate to you what you are going to do in your stint. So you will be ticked in, ready to go, and then your lobby host will, when everyone's ticked in and what have you, will say, right, starting soon or whatever in the lobby chat, and then the race will start. In the top left hand corner, you've got however many laps you're doing. You will be told which lap you're pitting at the end of. So in this race, because it's only 5 laps, you are pitting at the end of lap 4. So when your stint has started, like we are seeing now, the race is starting, you will be going, this is your out lap, and your lobbies will all be heavy damage. So although there is no set sort of speed limit, make your way round at a decent pace, but being careful and also being on the correct tyre does help. Try and save fuel. Bang it into fuel map 6. Don't leave it there, Kazza. But yeah, save your fuel. Drive round at a sensible pace. There'll obviously be many cars around you. I hope you're all watching now. But it is heavy damage, so if obviously you have an accident on your outlap, you will have to fix that before you're released from the pits with your driver swap. At the end of this lap, what you're going to be doing is pulling straight into the pit lane. Again, avoiding penalties where possible. So you're now in the pits, and you will sit there until you receive the go-ahead from the driver in the previous stint in front of you. When they are stationary in their pit box, they will say to you in a party chat, you'll be in a party chat with your team, you will hear, right, Kazza, go, go, go.
Do I go?
Yep, please. Okay. Please go. You're pitting at the end of lap 4, by the way.
Okay.
So you then will, if you observe Kazza, will leave the pits and commence your race. King Ears, go, go, go. Now you can change tyres, you can put a splash of fuel in, and you can fix any damage when you've heard that command, but only after you've heard that command. You cannot leave until you've heard that command. It is very, very important, because you will get a massive penalty if you bodge it. So for now, you're just running your race wherever you are in the order. When you pull into that pit stop after your outlap, the key thing to remember is do not touch anything. Come to a stop, remove your hands from the wheel or controller or whatever it is you're using to navigate your vehicle. So if you sit on board with Kazza, he'll be coming in the pits first. And this is why it's important to be careful on your pit entries, because if you get reset onto the track, in the example we've got here, the track is still live depending on where you are in the order, And the last thing you want to do is cause yourself a mischief with traffic that is still driving round. So Kaz is going to pull into the pits now. King Ears is going to be coming into the pits now. Oh, after he nearly died.
Fucking amateur.
Again, once you've pulled into your pit box, touch nothing. And this is where you sort of sit and wait. It's a little bit boring, but it is what it is. So when you've pulled into your pit box and come to a stationary stop, you will say to your driver in the next lobby, go, go, go. You've given that command and they've gone. You're now finished, as it were. So you could be in here a long time, depending on where you are in the order and what the gaps are like. In a 24-hour race, there will be quite a wait for the back of the grid to be filtering their way into the pits.
Yeah.
But when that's happened, when the last driver has pulled into the pits and completed their driver swap, the lobby host or race director will then pop a message up in the lobby chat, and it will say something along the lines of, finish your stint, you can leave the pits, blah, blah, blah. And when you see that, Kaza, you can leave the pits, you will leave the pits and complete this final lap. Doesn't really matter what speed you do. The only thing to remember is don't drive like a dick. No donuts, no ramming, no titting around, because again you can get a reprimand and a penalty, and it just doesn't look very professional on stream. When you've finished the final lap, you don't have to go into the pits, you just cross the line, and that is your stint for the day, or for that moment in time, finished. You'll collect your clean race bonus, etc., etc., and then you can leave the lobby. You don't have to complete that final lap, but it does speed up the process because then you're not waiting for countdown timers and such. Is that quite clear for everybody? Are there any questions?
Everybody's only 3 people in here.
No, I'm happy with that.
So like I said, key things to remember: sensible driving on your out lap, touch nothing when you get into that pit box, do not go anywhere until your teammate has said quite clearly, go, go, go. And last but not least, on that final out lap, finishing lap, you just, be sensible. But again, no speed limits, etc.
So, after that lap,
Yeah.
are you allowed to refuel and change your tyres?
You can refuel, you can change tyres,
Okay.
you can fix damage if you have picked some up on your out lap. It has happened when we've had some precarious weather at the start of the stint whereby someone's gone out on the out lap on mediums, track's been damp, obviously had an accident, pulled into their pits and then had to fix damage on their way out. Tyres is personal choice, but it does also factor in how long you've been sat there. The longer you're sat there, the colder your tyres are going to get, so you might want to put a fresh set on before you head out. That's something that you can talk amongst yourselves with on the day when it's your turn. If it's like sort of 5 or so minutes, you're probably fine to go out on the tyres that you did your out lap on. If you're looking at 20 minutes, then you probably do want to chuck some fresh rubber on. Fuel doesn't tend to be an issue. Like I said, if you're banging it into fuel map 6 on that out lap, you should be fine. It's only if you're really like revving the tits off it, ragging it out on that outlap that you might find yourself a little bit short. The differences with stint 1 and the final stint. The final stint's really easy. It's the same procedure at the start. The only difference is at the end, you don't pull into the pits, you just race to the checkered flag. Stint 1, there is normally a formation lap where there is a mandatory speed limit when it's single file. It then moves to double file, and then the pole sitter will commence the race as they go across the start finish line. However, with the charity race, I can't imagine any of the newbies necessarily doing the first stint. But that might be the case, in which case we can go into that a bit more detail nearer the time if we need to. It's easy enough once you know what you're doing. Unless you're Adriano, in which case you're constantly out of position and you get flashed and you don't pay attention. That's pretty much it. Some people like to sort of say in the party chat, right, I'm coming into the pit lane now, or I'm on my last lap. You might hear that sort of stuff, but just be very, very clear when you're giving the instruction to your next driver that you are. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't say, oh yeah, you can go. Just say their name, like Loogie, go, go, go. Be very clear and concise with your instruction. Equally, you cannot, like, I can't stress this enough, do it unless you are stationary in your pit box. Not when you're entering the pit lane, not when the animation started, when you are stationary in that pit box.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine, Kenny, love.
The penalty for getting it wrong is actually very hefty.
Very hefty. The last thing you want is a driver swap penalty because you've got a little bit button happy, or you got excited coming into the pit lane and you're like, whoa, go! No. It is easily done because you're thinking, thank fuck that's over. However, let's not get too carried away.
So with the start of, like, say from stint 2 to 11 or whatever it is, that first lap, is everybody kind of grouped up together until you get to the pits? Okay.
Yeah, everyone goes. It's the race will start like this race started, with a grid start. So you'll all be on the grid in whatever order. It doesn't matter, because obviously that's not the order in which you're going to be leaving the pits. So don't worry about what position you're in on that grid. It makes no difference because that's not the order you're going to be leaving the pits in. So if your team is in P3 and you find yourself in the grid at P14, don't panic thinking, fucking hell, because it's irrelevant. It's just for the purposes of starting that stint that it's a grid start and you'll all go off together. But that's another reason why I say please be cautious, because there will be 14 other cars on the grid, sorry. And it is mainly with wet tracks. If someone has accidentally forgotten to change their tyres before the host started it, you just be cautious, because if someone's running around on medium tyres and it's fucking RO8 weather and you're there on your wets, you might accidentally be collateral damage by somebody having a proper pleb moment. So yeah, just a little bit of space. The stints are normally started around 10 to the hour. That is obviously to allow everybody plenty of time to complete that outlap cautiously and to get themselves into the pits in time for driver swaps to start, and to keep the race running on time. The only thing that will potentially vary is the lap count when you join your stints, you will be told how many laps are in each stint. But because we're following like real life weather, if it's wet, the number of laps will probably be reduced here and there, because obviously the lap runs longer when it's wet, etc. We try and keep it on time as possible, so there might be the odd lap shaved off here and there. So just pay attention to the announcement of the lobby opening, because that will tell you which lap you're pitting on, and just pay attention to that lap counter in the top left hand corner, and you can work it out from there. If stints 2 to 11, it's always that number minus 2 that are your racing laps. So when you join the lobby, if it's 17 laps, you're going to be racing for 15. If it's 16 laps, you're going to be racing for 14, etc. Because obviously that first lap is your out lap, and that last lap is after you've completed the driver swaps. It's easy enough, and once you've done it once, it'll be ingrained in your brain. And it is a lot easier than it sounds. I think a lot of people build it up to be something complex and confusing, but actually in practice it's very, very simple. But easy to get wrong. Very easy to get wrong. The best thing for you to do, if you do accidentally jump your pit swap, just stop at the end of the pit lane. Say Ryan's pulled into the pits and he's like, I'm in the pit lane, and you've pressed to release yourself. Just wait at the pit exit until he says, right, go, 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 when he's stopped. Because then you might get away with it. Otherwise, just, wait a few seconds and then carry on. Very much the same if you've been reset out of the pits. Nikki knows all about this, bless him. On your sort of final lap and the track is still live, again, just try and pull yourself to a safe place out of the way so that you're not interfering with the live track. I just clocked that Superman joined. Bless him. Any other questions? Oh, fuck off, Toby.
Well said, well said.
I mean, I have tons of questions, but they're not GT7 related.
Oh, okay. Well, if they're anything to do with like actual life and being an adult, I'm not the person to be asking.
Wrong group for it.
This is not.
I can help a little bit.
Oh,
Here we go.